part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action. This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright, and you're listening to the Krypton Report.
Meanwhile, on Earth WTH, Jania was asked to watch the trailer for Gotham Knights. So you guys get to listen to this. It has been edited because a lot of the trailer audio got into the recording because it was very on the spot. But enjoy Jania's quick thoughts, and then we'll get on with the episode.
Hey guys, it's Tyler here. Just going live with this little quick video. I'm getting Jania's live compliments on the Gotham Knights trailer. So here we go. Ready?
Oh man. What in the world? That's crazy. I'm sorry, a bunch of teenagers brought... Wow. Okay. I'm sorry. Carrie Kelly. Okay, all right. I still can't get over I got Misha Collins in this. I'm like, I don't even know what to say. This is, I feel like we're really reaching... Okay. There are elements that I like here.
Misha Collins.
Misha Collins. Yep, I like Misha Collins. I'm trying to think of anything else that I like. I hate the fact that Batman is dead. And we're dealing with... I don't even know what the kid's name is, by the way.
It's Turner, as in made up for the show, not a character from the books.
That's awful. We couldn't even do Damien. This is terrible. So this, literally, they're playing off of these titles and these names. There's nothing, like, interesting here at all, really. It's really bad. It just the whole concept of, like, this is going to be one of those situations where it'll probably end up being a dumpster fire. And I feel like this is one of those situations where they're doing whatever they can to make money off of Batman, but not actually using Batman, and it's some kind of cheap knockoff.
Yep.
It's disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I really feel bad for Misha Collins in this. However, he makes his own choices. Like, I love the dude. I wish him well in this show, but my God, like, not at all what I was expecting. Not at all. Like I said, I didn't even know what to say while I was watching it, because I'm like, what am I watching? That's what I was trying to figure out the whole time. Like, what is in front of me right now?
Hey, we're going to press pause and hear a few words from our other podcasts on Press Play Podcast Network.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
Hey everybody, Tyler here. You know, the Superman of Blue, the man of tomorrow, the man of, sorry this episode's late, but just want to throw this out there. Thanks to the negligence of a family member who will remain nameless, Jania, myself, and Selah all have COVID. That's right. We've spent 2 years not getting it, being safe, and then we had an idiot family member who doesn't listen to this podcast, so I can say whatever I want, get us all sick. Luckily, we're doing fine. We're all healing, and Solomon hasn't got anything. So that's kind of been our delay. And I'm in a lot of pain right now. My body physically hurts, and it sucks. It's causing my back issue to flare up. So we're going to record because I need to get my mind off things. So I'd like to, with that fun introduction of everything, welcome the Superman of Red, the muscles from Brussels. No, that's Van Damme. Mr. James Cole.
Van Damme.
Man, hey, James, lots happened since last we've talked.
Yeah, certain number of things.
James has fought the forces of darkness, killed a Balrog, took the ring to Mordor, came back, shined his shoes, and went to work.
Yep.
That sounds about right.
Took about 11 months.
He's like, it took about 11 months. Man, speaking of time, all right, I'm going to go on a tangent here for a split second, okay? So we watched all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies with the kids, right? And I'd only seen number 5 like one time. Jania didn't remember like anything from number 5. And as we're watching this movie, I'm thinking, wait a minute, this timeline does not work. Because they say in Pirates 5 that it took place 5 years after 4. But 4 feels like it picks up just a couple years or a year or so after 3 because Jack went searching for the Fountain of Youth. That was like how the third one ended, and that was the whole point of the fourth one. But actually, there's a 13-year gap between Pirates 3 and Pirates 4. But it doesn't feel like it. It's messed up, man. It's messed up.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Inconsistency. But we got a lot of news to cover.
It has been a while since I've watched 4 and 5. So, well, actually, all of them. It's been a while since I've watched all of them. So,
yeah, it's
I've
really
seen 5 once, and I liked 4, but
yeah, I mean that was my thing. I was like, I'd seen 4, I think maybe 3 times total. I think I saw it once in theaters, and I think I saw it maybe only twice. I think once in theaters, and then when we bought it, and that might have been it. So I don't know, but it was fun watching them all with the kids. Solomon liked the fourth one second best after the first one, and I think it's because the latter ones are a little bit more toned down, more simplistic, and shorter.
they were shorter, yes.
So, but hey, we got some news. Good or bad, and we'll start with. And where do we want to start? Okay, let's back it up. So we got some statue reveals of costumes. We like a really good look at the Flash costume on a mannequin. And what'd you think? What'd you think about it? Before I share my information, what'd you think?
I mean, as a whole, on the mannequin, it didn't look so bad. I know some of the shots we got looked like it was like some kind of big old face mold, like that almost sat off of his face and everything
Mm-hmm.
in a certain shot. I think that was the biggest detraction that some people had, was the way it looked like that. But I mean, I think as a whole, it looks pretty good. I'm interested in what it's all about, going from what he had to something that Bruce helped him develop.
Yeah, I
do hope and I believe that he should absolutely be involved with developing his suit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we didn't get that. I mean, Peter Parker did that in his. We didn't get that until his 4th, 5th, 6th movie in.
Yeah.
He had his home suit, and then he didn't get to design his actual superhero suit until Far From Home. So he was in there quite a long time with suits that were developed for him, which is, that's actually a detraction I had before. Was he didn't have that input, you know what I mean? Like my favorite suit was this homemade suit, all the way through,
Yeah.
So
he was just kind of Tony's. Here, let me. It was all part of his arc was about him having to come into his own. So.
Right. So I mean, I think that's an important thing for me, going into this. The only kind of weird thing that stands out on the suit for me is the couple of lightning bolts, the ones around the elbow, and then the ones on the waist.
I like those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of just, like, I like that kind of doing it. Like, it reminds me, okay, I'll be honest with you. Years ago, I had developed like my idea of like if I did a Flash suit kind of based off the Man of Steel suit. And the way that the lightning bolts are on this were kind of my idea.
That's what it looks like. That's what it reminded me of.
Now, I'll say this. I like the brighter red. I like the lightning bolts, the symbol, but it's the texture that the suit's made out of that looks very weird. It looks almost like a melted plastic goo. Like, I don't know how to phrase it, to be honest with you.
Like he's wearing a latex or PVC suit.
Kind of, yeah. Like it looks like it was a suit that got like half melted and then it froze into a new shape.
Covered in candle wax.
Yes, yes, there we go. It has a very waxy nature to it. So the suit,
I think
itself, I'm not against, but whatever it's made of just doesn't look good. I mean, I almost wish it was made of like the material we like, that Man of Steel material.
Right. See, that's the only thing that I'm curious about is the way that it looks. I think it lends itself to more of a to the CGI that's going to be incorporated with the suit, especially while he's using his powers. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of things you can there's a lot of different things you can think of and come up with the idea of the Flash's powers, the friction, the speed, all that type of stuff. I think that, I think that that itself is going to play a factor into his new suit.
I agree. All right, so next to that suit on the mannequin is the Supergirl suit, and I'll be honest with you, it looks okay. We had seen her kind of in a what we called, a stunt suit is what we thought, but it's not much different than what we got in that behind the scenes shots. It looks fine. I mean, it's very blue. We seeing that the blue goes all the way down to like solid blue boots. It's a red cape off the shoulders. I mean, it looks good, but I feel like it's very Man of Steel. But I feel like they could have done something to break up the blue a little. At least let's think about the Man of Steel suit kind of did the webbing, but then did like the yellow and the oval. This does nothing like that. It's just the symbol, some red on top, and then blue, and the boots look like they're part of the suit itself, not like a separate boot. Yeah. And it's blue as well. So it's very very blue.
I mean, I think the idea, behind it is the full-on red shoulders, red cape all the way down, and then the blue suit. I mean, I think the contrast with the two of them, being so red up high and all the way down the back, I can definitely see you saying it's too blue, but I just think that the red at the shoulders and then the cape draped down behind the legs, I don't know, I like it. Very Man of Steel. I do like that it's very reminiscent of that, which kind of hopefully means that some of that mythos is sticking around.
Yeah,
even on a different Earth.
Yeah, we will see how how that plays out. I'm wondering if it'll be if this Supergirl will be kind of like maybe I don't know. This is just me speculating. What if it's something as crazy as on this Earth, Jor-El and Lara had a daughter, and this is their daughter sent to Earth. So it's basically the Superman story, but with a girl. You know,
Right. I mean, honestly, it could be. It could really be anything. I like the suit because I like that character. It's one of my favorite. I know I've said it before. It's like my favorite issue, single issue out of like the entire Injustice run is the issue that she appears in, which is Lara Kent.
yeah.
Or Lara Lane Kent.
And I mean, that would be awesome if that's her. So I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it is.
So I mean, I'm a little partial to the suit. I like the character. It's my favorite issue from there. So yeah, I'm a little.
James got issues.
I definitely like it.
So speaking of suits, we got another suit to look at. We got a behind the scenes of the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle suit, and it looks awesome. I mean, it looks straight up like Blue Beetle, no doubt about it. It looks perfect.
They nailed it.
I mean, it looks great as a functioning suit for the actor to wear, and then they're going to have some CG enhancements and stuff on it. But
yeah, with the capabilities of the suit, absolutely.
But just having a full-fledged suit to wear, I mean, it looks awesome. It's just like when you see sometimes behind the scenes of like Marvel suits, like Black Panther, whatever. There's like the suit is great, but there's little things on it that have the tracker dots that they fix and post. And this is what this suit kind of reminds me of. Little spots and stuff that they'll fix and tighten up and post. But man, you could not ask for a better looking suit for Blue Beetle.
Not at all. I mean, not at all. It's amazing. They nailed it 100%. So to see what it looks like practically, gives me hope of what they are going to do with it in post.
So that's exciting.
And I like the Jaime Reyes character. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, Jaime's great. Now, did you know that there was talks to still go ahead with a Justice U spin-off series starring John Diggle for the CW?
I did, yes.
I totally forgot about this.
It's something that flies under the radar.
Okay, so I'll admit, Jania and I watched the first 2 seasons of the Vampire Diaries. I watched with her, and then they did the spin-off of the originals, and I think we watched like the pilot of that. And then they did a third like something Academy show, Legacies or something like that. Like, yeah. So the Vampire Diaries had like 2 spin-offs on the CW. This to me feels like it's going to be like that. Like Diggle teaches a high school or university of superheroes. Like I'll admit I'm not real thrilled by this.
No, I mean, I like Diggle. I definitely do. He's one of the best parts of the Arrowverse. He's been in since the 2nd episode of Arrow, and he's been around the entire time. And so many teases to his legacy that have yet to come to fruition.
And that's
very upsettingly.
And that's why, like, I don't want this legacy. Like, if he's not going to be Green Lantern, and the thing is, just the idea of like kid superhero type university, I'm not thrilled by, based on what we have to discuss next.
I mean, it's like Titans Academy, the book. Yeah, I'm not. I like Diggle. I don't, and I would love to see him have his own show, but that just, I don't know. That just sounds iffy, you know, and especially with, I'm sure what we're going to talk about next is the CW seems to think that creating original characters so that way they can tell an original story not beholden to any history, you know,
It's the way to go.
um, is the way to go, because they can tell original stories. Like, you can tell original stories with these characters. You've been doing it for a very long time. uh you know, they did it from the beginning of Smallville. They did it through the entire Arrowverse, um using characters, names, and places that we know. And now it's just like, you know, let's plug in some random character so we can do whatever we want with them and just have some names that you know along for the ride.
Yep. And what we're talking about is that wonderful dumpster fire, now known as Gotham Knights.
And not the game Gotham Knights.
God, I feel sorry for the
CW
game.
show.
I feel sorry for the game just having to be associated with this.
Yeah, I think that's gonna give the game some bad publicity, honestly.
If I was the game developer, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, if the show crashes and burns. I mean, what did I send you? I mean, I sent you a meme right after the first image was revealed for Gotham Knights. It was uh it was you know what? Let's do another Batman show without Batman.
It's even less Batman.
Without the character even being a Batman character.
Yeah.
And follow angsty teens around.
Oh my gosh. So James, you haven't heard this yet, but when this episode starts, it starts with my live reaction making Jania watch the trailer. I just turned it on and she's like, "What is this? Huh? What?" There's a lot of what sounds like that throughout it. And she's like, "Who is this guy? Is that Damien?" I said, "No. Listen." She's like, "Who is this person?" I'm like,
"Who the hell is Turner Hayes?"
Exactly. And I'm just like, and then by the end of it, we both decided that we just feel bad for Misha Collins needing money. And that's why he's doing this.
And he's not, they said he's Harvey Dent Two-Face. So what, is he going to become Two-Face after Bruce is dead, after Batman's dead and gone?
Right. And
like,
then
he was never Two-Face to begin with,
I guess. Or if they're going to, or unless they do some story where it was the post where he healed Two-Face, helped him recover, you know, and then this is about him going back down the Two-Face road or something. I mean, and the fact that the person on the cover of the picture is not even Stephanie Brown, like everyone we wondered. Like, we know she's in the show, but it is Duella Dent, who is the Joker's daughter. And even that concept and that character is so out there. It just is like, you know, they did an episode of Batwoman with Duella, and it could have been really good, but she was a one and done. And I'm just like, because even Jania is like the Joker's daughter, and I'm like, yeah, it's almost laughable because the character is so convoluted that they're trying to make it like, oh, when I'm like, you shouldn't have even touched this character. She should be a villain of the series. But I mean, gosh, this looks bad. I mean,
it does. It really does.
And when Carrie Kelly, he's like, "Oh, I know you're Carrie Kelly from Trig," and I'm just like, "You are an idiot, dude." Like, I mean, everything about this just screams desperation. It looks like me and you and some friends just grabbed a camera and filmed some crap in the backyard. And even then, I think we'd make it look better.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean,
nothing about it appeals to me.
Nothing about it seems like it's Gotham related. Like, it's all, even when she's like, "I'm Carrie Kelly." You don't look like Carrie Kelly. You don't, you know, I guess she was Robin at the time. So Was there not even, Dick and Damien? Is there no lineage? She doesn't even show up in a Robin costume. Like, I was hoping that maybe she'd show up in a Robin costume so we at least get that. But no. And then they go to the Batcave and it looks like crap. And like we see a mask that looks like as someone put it, it looks like the Ruby's costume, the Batman costume mask, like from the kid's costume that they just pulled out and threw in the prop.
Hmm.
And I'm like, God, this show looks desperate and bad. Like, it's gonna get canceled. I'm gonna tell you, like, Naomi got canceled after a season. They ordered this 2-season, so I just feel like they're gonna get a one and done. And this took away my faith in, like, my faith had built up when they canceled Naomi, they canceled Legends, they canceled Batwoman, and they were sending this to season that, maybe they'll take their time with this and put money behind it and kind of produce something quality like Superman and Lois. But no, this is, I don't want to spend any more time talking about how bad this is.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't. There's nothing really that appeals to me out of the gate. Totally random character when there's like 87 different Robins to choose from.
Why make a new character?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's the idea of Ryan Wilder. She was a good character, but clearly not bankable. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a weird turn for the Batwoman show that it was okay, but I think it could have been better if they would have just, kind of recast and move forward, with who they ended up recasting with anyways. That's who I said they should have from the beginning. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what lesson they think they learned from creating a new character for this world that's already populated so much.
They learned nothing. That's what they learned. They maybe because it's something about they own the character then, and they can do with whatever they want, and then compared to maybe kind of fees for using characters. I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't.
I don't know. But hey, let's talk some comics, man. Let's get off this crap. Let's talk about something fun. Want to talk about something fun, James?
Yes, sir.
Now, the comics I got sitting here in front of me is I got Action Comics, the annual, and I got Action Comics 1043.
I do have both of those. I'm losing it. I can't find it.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice, James searches for everything. Where is my stuff? So I'm going to throw this out there. Why James searches comics. So a little bit ago, I did a kind of recap discussion in a video, and I threw it as a podcast, of the dailies, Origin of Superman, Action Comics #1, and Superman #1. But you know what comic I didn't think about that I recently read was Superboy's first appearance in More Fun Comics, and how just slightly different his origin is. Because it's the same character, same origin, but just like a little bit more detail on Krypton. And then it falls into the same kind of pattern with a few word choices here and there a little bit different. Still, motorists find the baby, take him to an orphanage. Then he's adopted by the Kents. But it was just interesting the little bit more of Krypton you get and the history there in Superboy's appearance and origin story. Definitely an interesting read. And I'm working on reading some of the old Superboy comics right now. It's part of my summer reading program I assigned myself. I still can't get over that there used to be they called it like a children's asylum or instead of an orphanage. I'm like, oh, okay, creepy, but all right. Did you find your books?
I did.
All right, James. Why don't you start with Action 1043 while I just scream in pain in the background on mute? And here we go. It's like- Yeah.
So we have the opening of Superman and his team, his rebellion, leading against the Citadel for the War Zones. They are what we see is the teacher, one of Mongol's high generals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing,
Yeah.
kind of. He's got Manchester Black, and he's torturing him, and Manchester's being a wise ass as usual, right? Why not?
Manchester.
Yeah. And then he's six orphan on Superman and his team, and Superman chops him up, separates the entities, separates the baby from the creature behind it. They rescue Manchester Black, and they free all of they free prisoners of the teacher, and they basically sick them on him. It's kind of an off-panel thing there, but that's what it seems like. We are back with Mongol. And Mongol's getting a report, that the teacher had fallen and that Superman had freed. But yeah, he doesn't like people failing for him. He says, "I should remove your spine." It's like Mongol is definitely kill the messenger type guy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Mongol, he's not putting up with anything. And we have Mongol talking to that hooded figure. And then we see, what's his face?
Apollo.
Yep,
Apollo is still prisoner, chained up.
I still don't know
how
Apollo's powers don't work as like in tandem with Superman to like help power Superman.
Yeah, I kind of would have thought that maybe he was there for that.
Yeah,
and
the fact he's got the super strength too. But yeah,
keep him strong. When at the beginning of the story, it's all a ruse, and the Enchantress is helping him maintain the appearance. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at as a turn later on in the series. Is like maybe he is a contingency plan for something like that to supercharge Superman at the right time.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. And then we have Warworld invading a planet. Krylithic. It's interesting because they call everybody Krylithic. Maybe they're talking about the one guy.
I mean, unless it's kind of like like we learned about our good friend Forager.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Just the way they were saying it made I thought maybe it was something in that vein.
But we see it coming, and then we get a nice discussion with Superman and his team.
Yeah, we got discuss the team. We have some bad news on that front. They moved Apollo. Our people are saying keeping him in the Star Forge at Engine City 1. It's probably the most heavily guarded place on the planet. Midnighter, he really wants to free his husband. He get when he brings that up, he always gets very like one track on it.
Mm-hmm.
And to hell with everybody else.
I get it.
Says Kryla Ux has located the Enchantress. Mother has the Enchantress, and they give a little backstory on Mother. She's a monster that killed her own civilization, a demon capable of consuming planets when she's angry.
And that's creepy.
Yeah, I called her an undead witch queen that had been locked away for centuries. Said they knew it would kill them all, but they woke it up anyway, so it would kill the war zones too.
I think Mongol's face, the way he draws, it's interesting because he gives his face more of an even human look than like the usual very strong, stout Mongol face.
Yeah, Mongol has always had the same face, even when they've, which is continued in this, where children of Mongol kill their father and take his place, but they all very much look the same.
Part of me almost wishes they would just like tattoo brand their number on their forehead. Like,
yeah,
like he's Mongol XXX. Awesome.
So then we get Mongol taking a meeting. Chief Krylithix, this is most irregular. What is he says, Theros? Lord Mongol, forgive me. I clearly misunderstood the terms of our arrangements. You promised that if the United Planets did not interfere when Superman challenged you, we would have nothing to fear from Warworld. Is that not so? This is Theros. I have learned that the United Planets have a new class of war engine, a winged battle automaton of Thanagarian make. My spies tell me that in large numbers they may repel a warworld battleship, and that they were designed for this purpose. Explain yourself. It is not. We of the United Planets certainly mean no offense by, of course, not to offend Mongol is to cut one's own throat. One wise as you must know this. To demonstrate that I accept your regrets and that I do not desire war, I accept this planet as a gift between allies. The guy says, Lord Mongol, and Mongol cuts him off. All this planet's people are now slaves of Warworld. When at last they die, their flesh will nourish the great worms, and in turn the Warzone people. I will also accept 10,000 of the flying war machines with which you meant no offense. He says, Lord Mongol, I cannot. Mongol says, with these gifts, Theros, you ensure peace and long life of your newborn United Planets. So, yeah, that's pretty... that gets pretty deep there. We get... United Planets basically knowing that Superman was walking into a trap and allowing him to do such, and then they are under the foothold of Mongol.
Yes, they are.
Next, we get Superman down deeper in the planet, deeper in the catacombs of Warworld, down near the surface where the Genesis is, or maybe just above, outside of the energy.
It's also interesting because we're reading and you turn the page and the art changes, and we're not even into the backup. We're just still in the story. I mean, the last 4 pages of our story is new art.
Right. Well, at that point, what's his name? They say his name, but I forget it now. he starts telling him stories. Superman is trying to translate the Genesis writing,
Mm-hmm.
and he says that most of it's a guess, an educated guess. He's trying to figure out patterns and decipher the language, so he can know, because he can understand the Genesis and the power that it has.
Talks about the puzzle box that must be solved, the history, the madness, the 7 God aspects, the unworthy.
Yeah. 7 of the mighty Olgrun, first and greatest of the gods. Very almost Ares-like on this one page.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is curious to me. But yeah, so he finishes up the story of Olgrun. This is the power Mongol seeks, the power no other Mongol has found, the greatest power of the old gods. And if you do not claim it, I fear that he will. Then it appears there's a lot of people waiting. Then they're under attack, and they look up in the sky and says, "Mongol has come for us." And
They
this
say
is
look up in the
actually
sky.
War World Revolution Part 1.
Dum dum dum. And then in the backup, we have the story of the first Mongol.
The myth of the Mongol.
It's a very interesting how it talks about this creature shows up and he calls him like a god, and it looks at the Mongol who shows up and looks down on him, and Mongol takes a rock and kills him with it, and basically puts on his suit that has a gem, and talks about how the suit was the creature's actual flesh, and how every Mongol takes that gem and wears it as part of who they are. And we see the storyteller, talking, and at the end, the writings that he has, there is the, for lack of a better term, the Kingdom Come S symbol is in the writings.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very curious. I think there's going to be some more pretty good storytelling coming up.
I like the backup, like actually feeling like it's part of the story and giving us more.
It does, because it actually builds up and leads into the next issue, which is the annual.
And the annual is
at least the idea of where Mongols came from, and then.
And this one's more about the Mongol we have now. I like the annual A Tale of Two Titans, and we have a story like about Clark playing soccer and using his power basically to steal the ball and win. And we have Martha telling him it's not right, and about his powers will change the world. And the other kid who lost, is getting yelled at by his father. And then that kid gets mad and kicks the ball, hits Martha in the back of the head, and we see that Martha's wearing a wig. And we learn in the story that Martha's actually fighting cancer, and she's going and having treatment at night. And in the middle of the night, Clark's angry at this bully. He goes to the house. We hear the father yelling at the bully, and the father passes out driving drunk, about to crash his truck into the highway. Clark stops the truck, and he stops at the hospital and checks on his mom, who's doing treatment. Just kind of, everything Martha's saying is really putting forth who Clark is. And Clark decides, this is a great panel. He wants to cut his hair and be bald like his mom. And it shows him the scissors break, the knife, like the hedge clippers break. And then he tries to use a chainsaw and it breaks. And nothing he does, he can't cut his hair to be like his mom. He goes back, and the kid comes out to punch him. Or, they go back to soccer. The kid starts talking smack. And then Clark says, leave him alone to the other kids. And then he's mad that Clark stood up for him. And then as the kid goes to punch him, he remembers what his mom said about taking the real strength is getting back up. You got to roll with the punches. And he rolls with the punch and falls down. And Clark
I like
stands
the
up.
way they display the slow motion in that moment.
Yes. Like Clark's just like waiting for it. And he talks about, he gets up and tells the kid, Caleb, you're not him. You're not your father. And, then they go, Clark sees his mom, and at the end, Caleb comes in and apologizes, and we see that Caleb shaved his head. And then it cuts to years later at the Mighty Oaks Community Youth Outreach and Opportunity Center. And it looks like Caleb's growing up to work there.
Yep. He's working there, and he's working with other children.
And you just kind of see Superman flying in the back. It's a great shot. And the way they draw him, I love it. And I love the way they draw his boots. I don't know why. It's very Superman Return-esque, but I like it. So that's the Superman story that goes along with the Mongol story. And I'll let you tell the Mongol story.
So the Mongol story starts at a time when they are rooting out the weakness. There is a name for it. Well, let's see here. I know they have a... they might call it a culling or something.
Basically, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a culling. It's rooting out the weakness. Weak children, weak families. They will get exiled to the Golgothan ruins, the Golgothan waste. Apparently, Mongol is siring children with multiple women.
Of course.
Many of these kids who are fighting each other are Mongol's children. The mother in this and the young boy, it's hard to see really the young boy himself. Looks like he's getting beat up on, but most of them look identical.
Yeah.
The kids do anyways. So yeah, they fight only to be exiled still. They are exiled for the young one trying to help and not killing the weaker ones. And they get exiled, and she says, my son will yet learn this way also, and we will have vengeance on you. So they go out to the Golgothan ruins. She teaches them how to hunt, what they're going to be eating, which is some kind of maybe leech type thing.
Yeah.
She allows it to. She waits and she says, "Wait and be silent." And then it grabs her, and then she kills it, rips it in half, and that's food.
But she doesn't share the food with the kid.
Yeah, it was your weakness that sent us here. Catch your own gutter leeches if you've decided to live, or choose mercy as you did in the pits and die for it. It makes no difference to me.
And then he fastens a weapon and hunts and kills something and tries to share it with her, and she's mad. And she's like, the war zone does not protect, and she punches him in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, she hits him a bunch of times in the face. If you waste your strength to protect me, you weaken yourself and me also. The Warzone chooses his own life always, and that is how we endure and what others cannot. So, yeah, she's real hard on him. I mean, basically, it's survival of the fittest on War World, so survival of the strongest.
Yeah.
They're running faster. They're almost upon us. They are the Chekagalag.
I'll take it.
So, pretty close.
Tribe.
Kelathinger tribe. They're they're there. They're gonna kill him and eat him. Then they get, and then a bull mammoth arrives, which apparently the Mongol who is at this time has killed a bull mammoth by himself.
Yep.
The mother is trying to save the child. The child says no, and she gets skewered all the way through. And then the child charges and jumps into the bull mammoth's mouth and drives a spike through its skull, out through the top of its head, and kills it. You see, you can be strong. The Kalathinger have seen this now. Says, I will make them heal you. They survive in the waste. They must have healing that can. She says, the Thingar do not heal the sorely wounded. They will take you into their tribe now, teach you how to survive. But first, you must show them you are as hard and as ruthless as they are. Take this and use it. She gives him a knife. You said the war zone does not protect, yet you tried to protect me from the bull mammoth. Why? She said, Mongol who is chose me, showed me favor. Then he burdened me with a son, with you, and cast us both in the pits to die. Kill him for what he's done to us. And the child says, I will. Which I think at this point he is there to finish off his mom.
Yep.
So she doesn't die there slowly and painfully.
I think he kills his mom to just kind of show his strength to the tribe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely the reason behind it.
So, yeah, I mean, tough way to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Survival of the strongest. Then a Thingar, I see him. Back to your bone piles, Thingar. You're in Kelligang territory.
Mm-hmm.
I am Galang. Let me pass. Take another step, Thingar, and I'll water the basin with the basin floor with you. He steps in. Let me pass, or you will walk the orchard today. So say the dead. The guy tries to draw a weapon and is quickly dispatched with Mongol or with this young Mongol's blades. He said, "My mother paid her debt in the waste. This one paid mine. Let me pass, or you will pay also." Welcome and pass and welcome. I remember that knife. Your mother seemed a fierce one. She kept the Warzone way, but betrayed us in the end. The Warzone does not protect, and that's the beginning. So this Mongol, and that's the Mongol who is currently, and he's at that part in the story, he's vowed to kill Mongol who is at that time.
Pretty heavy.
I mean, it kind of seems like the way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. All right, so let's shift gears.
I mean, War World's pretty brutal.
We got some Young Justice coming up. Last week's episode of Young Justice. Spoilers, man. That's all I'm going to say. Jump ahead a couple minutes or something. But Superboy don't know what way to go. Zod is free with his wife Ursa, which is confusing, but whatever. And Larzod.
I'm curious, is that Sarah Douglas doing the voice?
I don't know.
because I know that she never wanted anybody to play Ursa.
I talked to
Like
her.
that's part of the reason that like Ursa's only existed in that in the Donner movies, the Donner and Lester movies. Why she's never been on why it's always been Feora since.
But we had that one episode that had Feora and Ursa in it of the Ruby Spears show, but they never both talked. Let's see. The problem is you have so many voice actors that do multiple voices. No, Vanessa Marshall does the voice of Ursa and Emerald Empress. Yeah, so. But the Emerald Empress was a nice little twist I didn't see. Rocket is missing, and Dick Grayson might be dead. And Superboy's about to kill Superman, who is infected with green kryptonite. That's all I gotta say. That's probably the most edge of my seat episodes I've ever watched.
Big time, absolutely. A lot happened in it. Like you said, I'm wondering about Dick Grayson. You know, like he's. I mean, I'm sure he's not dead, but
Who knows?
Seems that way.
They killed Wally. They could kill Dick. I mean, we don't even know if we're going to get a season 5. We got one episode left tomorrow.
Interestingly enough, there is something different with Wally. In the Zone, at a point when he talked to Wally, Wally was a phantom like him. Whenever he hallucinated anybody else, they were like a full-bodied person. They had color to them. They weren't a translucent blue phantom. So I'm not sure that Wally is in the Phantom Zone, but maybe the Speed Force crosses over with it a little bit.
I've said he's in the Speed Force since he disappeared in that episode.
Yeah. I mean, it would just make more sense that he's in the Speed Force, and I think it would make a little more sense because of what it is, you know, how it's an extra dimensional thing that, you know, I'm not saying that he resides in the Phantom Zone, but I think maybe he can pass into the Phantom Zone. So, I mean, I'm still hoping to see Wally return in the show. I have been for years. Great episode, and I mean, kneel before Zod, kill Superman, break his neck, like, yeah, edge of my seat. I came across a quote today on Young Justice. It says, "Our numbers this season on HBO Max are stunningly good. Today I saw numbers that indicated we have more views this year than any other animated superhero series on any streaming service."
Yeah, because this season is good. Like, the last season sucked. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I tried to go back and rewatch it, and I couldn't. Like, they spent so much time with the new characters that I couldn't stand. It didn't feel like they had any of the heart from the show. Like, it just felt like they had just made it straight for adults and left out the heart that was in the first 2 seasons. But this season is much better.
I mean, I can see it. I've liked everything that's come out so far. I think they could have, you know.
Oh, so you're a Brienne fan, huh? That's all you want? You want to watch Brienne just go off and yell about Tara the whole time?
No, that Tara. I do not. Brion was annoying. I definitely agree that they spent too much time with the new characters, not enough with the old. I think if they would have landed more of a balance with that, it would have been better.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say that out of all four, that 3 may be the weakest season, but I still don't think that it is bad by any means, by any stretch of the word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Trying to take the diplomatic answer, James.
I've enjoyed the show thoroughly since it began. I love the fact that there is a sense of time passing, that characters have an arc, and the fact that they have been able to subvert some expectations. We go from season 1 to season 2. We got Dick Grayson, who's Robin, who becomes Nightwing. We find out that there was Jason Todd in between, and then there is now Tim Drake. Then we see in season 3 we see that there's baby Damien,
And we see that Jason's the Red Hood.
and we see that Jason's alive. And we know the story. The more popular version of the story when he becomes Nightwing is because of a falling out, and that's not necessarily the case. They've at least said as much. It's not been in the show that that's not the case, that he's just kind of grown up and moved on.
Yeah.
That Batgirl was paralyzed not by the Killing Joke scenario, but Cassandra, by getting in the way of Cassandra Cain from assassinating the Joker,
Which was crazy. Like I'm gonna rewatch this whole season straight because we've had so many breaks on it and everything. Like I really look forward to being able to watch it straight.
Yeah, very much so. So just the passage of time that exists, and the character arcs that they've gone through, which is supposed to be, at this point, we've got like 5, 8, 9 years or something, 9 or 10 years since the beginning of Young Justice, since the pilot episode,
Mm-hmm.
like in story time of the show, which is really cool.
It is. So check it out. And now it is time. Superman and Lois. The lies that bind. I only got to watch this episode once. It's been a crazy week. And then trying to watch stuff with the kids and keep them happy. So, overall,
I mean, same.
Overall, I like this episode. I think the writing was great. What I did not like about this episode, well, I'll just get out the front. Kyle is going downhill as a character, as a whole character. He talks about his relationship with Lana and, her not telling lies or whatever. And I'm like, dude, you need to check your role. Because the dumbest thing in this whole episode to me, first of all, I'm going to get on my soapbox here, is when Lana gets a text from Lois and she lies to Kyle about the text and leaves. And then she's like, you made me lie to Kyle. I've never lied to Kyle. And I'm like, you chose to lie. You could have just said, hey, it's Lois. He knows they're friends. Lana's also mayor and has mayoral responsibilities and things she has to do. So Lana didn't have to lie to Kyle. She didn't even have to leave. She just could have texted Lois and be like, we'll talk later. Or she just said, Kyle, I need to go. Lois needs to talk to me. Simple. But no, she chose to lie to Kyle. That was her choice. I'm glad that she didn't give some sort of speech about being mad at Clark for not telling her before or sooner or whatever, but then she's mad at Lois for being her friend and having to lie. I
I
was just
mean,
like,
I can see her point of view. You know, she's mad at Lois. Um, Lois knows her secret. Clark never told it to her. I mean, she's hurt. You know what I mean? Like
being hurt. Yeah,
her world was literally just flipped upside down. I mean, she's been having marital problems. She just won the mayoral run.
Hi, James.
Hey Solo.
he said, "Hey, so
And she and then she just learns this, that he's Superman, that he's always been, and that so her world is turned upside down. I think that her being upset with Lois for being her friend. Now, Lois, she didn't know anybody in the town. And I think, you know, from Lois's perspective, it was important that she be friends with Lana because Lana is Clark's oldest and best friend.
right."
You know, I
And she,
think that I don't think that she approached it with any sort of malice, and I really don't think that Lana thinks she approached it with any sort of malice. You know what I mean? But it still puts her in a position which she makes the decision for, which I love Tyler's reaction. It was his the look on his face was heartbreaking. Where she decides that they can't hang out anymore. Because she has to lie to her family, knowing the secret.
and that, I mean, yes, and that,
I mean, it really puts her in it really does put her between a rock and a hard place. I mean, it would not be an easy thing to deal with, not only just the hurt, but the implications that come with knowing that.
yes, and it's almost makes you
Um,
want to, like, if you would preference, like, I want to tell you something, but if I tell you, it's going to change your entire life, and it's going to be something you have to deal with, you know. So I mean, that was the, you know, the big part of it. We also got Superman and John Henry battling Allie, and she was like trying to suck Superman's powers. Um, we got Tal. I love that we saw Tal back, and he came back and he brought Lois flowers, and he, you know, he talked about how he reflected on things, um, and how he could have had a family, you know, but he wanted his brother to himself. And you know what? I like the growth of the character, and I told Jania I feel like he's gonna end up dying before the season's over, like sacrificing himself to save Clark and the family while they try to fight Allie, because he's a good character, but I don't really see what they're gonna do with him, and they can't just keep him in jail, like, because he's gonna try to get out of jail. He doesn't want to be imprisoned, um, and that's always gonna put him and Clark at odds. But I like,
yeah, absolutely. It was nice to see him playing a more benevolent character, you know.
mm-hmm.
I'm sure that he has his own ulterior motives going on, but that wasn't the focus at all. That was a concern that they had, but that wasn't a focus on him being out, was being his side plans. He was there to do what he needed to do and help Clark and help Superman do what they needed to do to destroy the pendant.
Which I think is interesting because he couldn't do it by himself. It's not like there was another Kryptonian named Kara. Oh wait, where is Kara?
Right?
I'm still gonna bring that up just because they said that in Super Season 2 they're gonna address it at some point.
Well, that's the thing too. Like you said, they're gonna address it. There's Supergirl around. Like, so instead of calling your fully powered cousin who is on Earth with you, um, who is just as powerful as you are, instead of calling her, you decide to let your brother out of prison
Yeah,
to hopefully help you with this.
yeah.
No, that is one of those things. That's one of those in-universe issues that I can agree with having a problem with why another character from another show isn't involved in what's
Ready?
happening.
You know how
Which,
you
I
do
mean,
that? Supergirl left and went to the future with the Legion at the end of her show, and this takes place after her show. Oh, snap. I fixed it all.
I'm surprised she didn't go to the future with the Legion,
We
but she
talked about it,
didn't.
but yeah, her end of her show was bullcrap.
But
Yeah.
yeah, she's still on Earth. She should be able to lend a hand. It's yeah, no, I know I've been a defender of um these characters have their own adventures. They have their own adventures saving the world
But they also have
um
crossovers.
by themselves. They do. They have issue after issue after issue after issue of them saving the world from world-ending threats by themselves, which is fine, and that's how I look at it as the shows. But then there are times when they cross over, and this point in the show is one of those times where a crossover would be beneficial
Yep.
with a character you care about and a character you trust
That makes sense to be there.
that makes sense to be there. But to to do what they did and put that faith in this character who tried to end the earth last year, that tried to end humanity last year, um, or eradicate humanity, as it were. Yeah, it's like that's pushing it to the point where you're just ignoring the fact that it's a shared universe.
Yeah. But all right, man, we're going to wrap it up here. I'm going to admit it. I'm in a lot of pain thanks COVID. My body aches, and just sitting in this chair actually hurts
Oh, I feel that. I know what you mean.
because it's actually flaring up my back problems. So
Yeah, the first time
my
I had
discs.
COVID, I was so achy.
So, but we'll be back soon with our next episode. A little bit more on schedule as I'm, healing. I was able to talk and not be sinusy. That was the big issue. Got something special coming up later in the month. It should have already dropped, but we weren't able to record because of the issues. But just keep listening, people. We appreciate all the listeners, all the Patreon exclusive content we got coming this month. I've already recorded actually a couple of them to drop, and we have more coming. So look at our Patreon. It's $1 a month. Help support the show, just keeping us on. It's nice, and you get a lot of free podcast chats. So remember,
Look up in the sky.
We just want to say if you've enjoyed this podcast, please check out other podcasts on the Press Play Podcast Network. Remember to check out Krypton Report on all social media platforms. Go to linktree.com/Krypton Report. You find all of our information right there. And if you want to keep Krypton from exploding, join our $1 a month Patreon. That's right, for $1 a month, you'll get extra special content that you don't get on the main show, like movie commentaries and whatever else comes out of our mouths. So check it out, patreon.com/Krypton Report.
If you are like Tyler and James and can't get enough super talk, check out these other podcasts. Digging for Kryptonite, Supergirl Radio, The Last Sons of Krypton, The Superboy Legacy Podcast, All-Star Superfans, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Aspiring Kryptonians, Always Hold On to Smallville, Caped Wonder, The Geek of Steel, and Truth, Justice, and Hope Podcast.